Okay, so everyone's talking about AI taking over jobs, right?
Yeah.
Like it's this big scary thing that's coming for us all.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic.
And there's some pretty wild predictions out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, are you worried?
Well, it is a valid concern, especially when we're talking about AI reaching near human levels of intelligence.
Like, what do they call it?
Artificial General Intelligence, or AGI for short.
AGI. Okay.
So we're not just talking about automating those simple tasks anymore.
Right.
This is AI that can potentially handle complex strategy, creative problem solving, even stuff like emotional support or medical diagnoses.
Whoa. So even those jobs we always thought were like uniquely human are on the table.
Potentially, yes.
Okay, so that's pretty scary. But today we're actually going to flip the script a bit.
Right.
Instead of focusing on what AI will replace, we're diving into the roles that are most likely to remain human-powered,
Exactly.
even in a world where AI can do almost anything.
Think of it as a thought experiment.
Ooh, I love a good thought experiment.
Ooh, I love a good thought experiment. So if AI can do X, Y, and Z, what does that tell us about the things it can't do?
Okay, I'm intrigued. So let's say we're in a world where AI is basically like having a superpowered brain in a robot body. Where do we even begin to look for the things it still can't do?
Hmm. Well, we might start by looking at roles that rely on qualities we traditionally associate with human intelligence.
Okay.
Things like leadership, empathy, or even a skilled craftsperson's intuition.
Interesting. So first up, let's talk about leadership. I mean, we've all seen those sci-fi movies where robots are, calling the shots. But could that really happen in the real world?
It's a question worth exploring.
For sure.
We often think of good leaders as being strategic, decisive, maybe even a bit visionary.
Right.
And while AI might excel at analyzing data and predicting trends, there's a human element to leadership that's hard to quantify.
You mean like that gut feeling that
Exactly.
tells a CEO to take a risk or make a tough call that maybe even goes against the data?
Yeah, like imagine a company facing a major ethical dilemma. AI might be able to crunch the numbers and offer various solutions,
Sure.
but the final decision often hinges on human values, moral judgment,
Right.
and that intangible sense of what's right,
Yeah,
even if it's not the most logical choice.
I see what you mean. Data alone can't tell you what's ethically right or how to balance those competing stakeholder interests.
Hmm.
There's a human element to that judgment call.
Mm-hmm.
But what about roles that are all about human connection and emotional support?
Hmm.
Can AI really replace therapists, counselors, or even, those who provide companionship?
Well, this is where it gets really fascinating.
Okay.
While AI can certainly learn to recognize emotional cues
Yep.
and even simulate empathy, there's a fundamental difference between recognizing sadness
Right.
and truly connecting with another human being on an emotional level.
Yeah, it's like the difference between a chatbot saying, I understand you're feeling sad, and a friend offering a hug and genuinely listening to your pain.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
Think about the role of a therapist, for example. It's not just about offering advice or analyzing behavior. It's about creating a safe space for vulnerability, building trust, and helping someone work through their emotions in a way that feels authentic and human.
So even if AI could process language, understand psychology, and maybe even offer sound advice, it couldn't replicate that sense of truly being seen and understood by another human being.
Exactly. And this becomes even more apparent in fields like sex work, where the emotional and physical intimacy are deeply intertwined.
Okay.
It's not just about the act itself, but about feeling desired, understood, and connected on a human level, something AI, even with advanced robotics, might struggle to replicate.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what it even means to have a relationship, whether platonic or romantic, with a robot.
Right.
Okay, so we've got CEOs and therapists holding their ground against the robot uprising. But what about those jobs that require, actual hands-on skill and creativity? Like, could you imagine a robot building a custom piece of furniture or tailoring a suit?
Hmm. Here's where we get into the realm of embodied intelligence. While AI can learn to perform incredibly precise movements and even adapt to certain variations, there's a level of dexterity, flexibility, and on-the-fly creative problem-solving in skilled trades that continues to challenge even the most advanced robots.
Yeah, I can picture a robot trying to sew a button and ending up tangled in a mess of thread.
Well, I'm not that dramatic. But think about a skilled carpenter who can not only follow a blueprint, but also adjust to the unique grain of the wood, making split-second decisions about how to best join pieces and ultimately create something both beautiful and functional.
Or a chef who takes a recipe and makes it their own substituting ingredients, tweaking the spices, creating something that delights the senses in a way that goes beyond just following instructions.
Exactly. These are roles that require a blend of physical skill, creativity, and that intuitive sense of knowing what works that comes from years of experience working with materials and responding to those subtle variations that exist in the real world.
It's like that saying, practice makes perfect. But can AI really practice in the same way a human can?
That's a great question. AI can learn from massive data sets and simulations, but there's something about the physical act of creating, of feeling the resistance of the wood or the texture of the fabric, of responding to those tiny imperfections that inevitably arise in the real world that seems crucial to developing true mastery. It's a dance between the mind and the body, the material and the maker that AI might find hard to replicate. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been exploring those jobs that even super advanced AI might struggle to replace, focusing on those roles where human intuition, creativity, and emotional intelligence seem to hold the edge.
Right, exactly. So we've been talking about this hypothetical world where AI can handle all sorts of complex tasks from strategy to diagnosis to creative writing.
Uh-huh.
But if robots are potentially taking over those jobs, where does that leave us humans?
Well, it raises a really fascinating question about the future of work. Will this shift towards AI-driven automation lead to mass unemployment and societal upheaval? Or could it actually free us up to focus on those uniquely human skills and qualities that we've been discussing?
Okay, so instead of robots stealing our jobs,
Mm.
they might actually be creating new opportunities for us to do what we do best.
It's a possibility worth considering. Think about it this way. If AI can handle all the routine, data-driven tasks, we're freed up to focus on the things that require creativity, empathy, critical thinking, and complex problem solving.
I like that. It's like robots take care of the boring stuff, and we get to focus on the things that actually make work meaningful and fulfilling.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And it actually aligns with what we've seen throughout history. Technological advancements often lead to shifts in the workforce, but they also create new industries and roles that we couldn't have imagined before.
Like what?
Well, think about the Industrial Revolution.
Okay.
Machines replaced many manual labor jobs, but they also created new opportunities in manufacturing, engineering, and other fields that emerged as a result of those technological changes.
Okay, so maybe we shouldn't be afraid of robots, but rather think about how we can work with them right. But here's a question. If AI can potentially handle tasks that require strategy, creativity, even emotional support, doesn't that blur the lines between what we traditionally thought of as human work and machine work?
That's a crucial point, and it really challenges us to rethink our assumptions about what constitutes valuable work. If AI can compose a symphony or write a marketing campaign, what does that say about the value of human creativity?
Whoa, that's deep. So are we saying that AI could actually make us better at being human?
It's certainly possible. If we can offload those tasks that can be effectively automated, we can focus on honing our uniquely human skills and talents. Imagine a world where doctors can spend more time with their patients, artists can push the boundaries of creative expression, and teachers can tailor their instruction to meet the individual needs of each student.
That sounds pretty amazing. But let's be realistic, there are going to be some challenges along the way, right?
Absolutely. There will be economic and societal disruptions as we navigate this transition.
For sure.
We'll need to address issues like job displacement, retraining workers, and ensuring equitable access to the benefits of AI.
Right, because it wouldn't be fair if only a select few got to enjoy the robot-powered good life.
Exactly. And we need to be mindful of the potential downsides of AI. As it becomes more sophisticated, we need to think critically about how we design and deploy these systems.
Okay.
For example, we need to ensure that AI is used responsibly and doesn't exacerbate existing inequalities.
Right, so there's definitely a lot to consider, but overall, it sounds like you're cautiously optimistic about the future.
I am. I think it's important to approach this technological revolution with a sense of both excitement and caution. We need to be aware of the potential risks, but we also need to embrace the opportunities it presents. This is a chance to reimagine the future of work, to create a world where technology enhances our human potential rather than diminishes it.
Okay, so we've talked about leadership, emotional support, and skilled trades. But there's another category that seems particularly resistant to AI replacement.
Hmm?
Those jobs that rely heavily on human interaction and social intelligence.
Okay.
Can AI really replace that human touch in the service industry?
This is where the intangible qualities of charm, wit, and adaptability come into play. AI can be programmed to be polite and efficient, but there's a difference between taking an order and making a customer feel seen and understood.
It's like a robot bartender might be able to mix a perfect martini, but can it offer a listening ear after a tough day or tell a joke that actually makes you laugh?
Exactly. Think about those service interactions that really stood out to you. It's often not just about the technical skill, but about the human connection, the sense of being cared for, even entertained. These are qualities that are hard to program into an algorithm.
Yeah, and what about those situations where you need someone to think on their feet and adapt to a changing situation? Like a good waiter can sense when a customer's in a hurry or needs a little extra attention. Can a robot really read those social cues?
That's a key point. Many service roles require a high degree of emotional intelligence, the ability to read body language, tone of voice, and adjust your approach accordingly. And of course, there's the element of surprise and delight. That spontaneous recommendation, the witty banter, the personalized touch that makes you feel like a valued guest, not just a transaction.
So robots might not be taking over our favorite bars or salons anytime soon. But what about healthcare? That seems like an area where AI could really excel, right? Diagnostics, monitoring, maybe even surgery.
Absolutely. AI is already making incredible strides in healthcare, and it's poised to revolutionize many aspects of the field. But even with advanced capabilities, there are certain roles in healthcare that require a distinctly human touch, especially when it comes to ethical decision-making and providing complex care. So even if AI can diagnose a patient perfectly, can it really provide the same level of empathy and support as a human nurse or doctor?
That's a crucial point. Think about the role of a nurse, for example. It's not just about administering medication or checking vital signs. It's about providing emotional support, advocating for the patient, and making those difficult judgment calls that involve weighing medical facts with human compassion.
Right, and what about those high-pressure situations in the ER or during surgery?
Yeah.
Can a robot really make those split-second decisions that can mean the difference between life and death?
That's where human intuition, experience, and ethical judgment come into play.
Yeah.
AI can be a powerful tool, but it's not a replacement for the human capacity to assess a complex situation, weigh the risks and benefits, and make a decision that takes into account the unique circumstances of each patient.
And let's not forget end-of-life care, which is such a sensitive and emotionally charged area. Can a robot really provide the same level of comfort and compassion as a human caregiver during those final moments? That's a profound question, and I think it highlights the limits of AI even at its most advanced. There's a certain kind of presence, a way of being with another human being in their suffering that requires empathy, compassion, and a deep understanding of the human condition.
Okay, so we've got compassionate nurses, quick-thinking ER docs, and all those other healthcare heroes staying firmly in the human realm. But what about the legal profession? That seems like an area where AI's ability to process information and analyze data could really shine, right?
Absolutely. AI is already being used in legal research document review and even to help predict case outcomes. But when it comes to the complexities of law, ethics, and human behavior, there are certain rules that will likely always require human judgment.
So robots might be able to write briefs, but they won't be arguing cases in court anytime soon.
Well, maybe not in the way we traditionally think of it, but the key point here is that legal judgment isn't just about applying rules to facts.
Okay.
It's about understanding the nuances of language, the intent behind laws, and the often messy realities of human behavior.
Right, like the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law kind of thing.
Exactly. And think about the role of a judge, for example. They have to weigh evidence, consider precedents, but also take into account the unique circumstances of each case, the motivations of the people involved, and the potential impact of their decision on society as a whole. That requires a level of moral and ethical reasoning that goes beyond simply processing data.
And what about those situations where there's no clear right or wrong answer? Like ethical dilemmas or cases that involve conflicting values.
That's where human judgment becomes even more crucial. AI can provide valuable insights, but it can't replicate that capacity for moral reasoning, for weighing competing values, and for making decisions that align with our sense of justice and fairness.
So judges, lawyers, all those folks who navigate the complexities of the legal system, still firmly in the human domain.
For now, at least. But it's a fascinating area to watch as AI continues to develop.
Okay, time to lighten things up a bit. Let's talk about those things that make us feel alive. Music, art, comedy, theater. Surely AI can't replace the magic of live performance, right?
This is where we get into the realm of what makes us human on a deeper level. While AI can certainly generate music, create visual art, and even write jokes, There's something about the emotional depth and authenticity of human expression that's hard to replicate.
Right, like a computer might be able to compose a technically perfect song, but can it really convey the same raw emotion as a musician pouring their heart into a live performance?
That's the key difference. Think about a time you've been moved by a live performance. It's not just about the technical skill, it's about the energy, the passion, the connection between the performer and the audience.
Yeah, it's like you can feel the artist's soul coming through their work. Can a robot really have a soul?
Hmm. That's a big philosophical question, but I think it speaks to the fact that art is about more than just technical proficiency. It's about expressing something uniquely human, about connecting with others on an emotional level, about creating something that transcends the purely rational.
And what about comedy? Surely AI can't replicate the art of making people laugh.
Well, humor is a complex thing. It relies on timing, wordplay, cultural references, and that intangible quality we call wit.
Right.
While AI can certainly learn to generate jokes based on patterns and data, it's hard to imagine it truly grasping the nuances of human humor, the absurdity of life, the things that make us laugh out loud.
So stand-up comedians, musicians, actors, all safe from the robot invasion for now.
It seems so. There's something about the live, unfiltered, and often unpredictable nature of human performance that I think will always have a special appeal.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about a category that might seem a little less glamorous, but is essential to any functioning workplace: human resources. Think mediating conflicts, fostering teamwork, creating a positive work environment. Can AI really handle all that?
This is where we get back to the importance of emotional intelligence, social skills, and that uniquely human ability to understand and navigate the complexities of human relationships.
Because let's be real, even in the best workplaces, there's always going to be some drama, some conflict, some personality clashes.
Absolutely. And resolving those issues effectively requires a deep understanding of human psychology, group dynamics, and cultural nuances. It's about reading between the lines, understanding unspoken motivations, and finding solutions that address the needs of everyone involved.
So while AI might be able to crunch numbers and track performance metrics, it can't really step in and mediate a dispute between two coworkers or help a team work more effectively together.
Exactly. Think about the qualities you value in a good HR manager. It's not just about being organized and efficient, it's about being empathetic, approachable, and able to build trust with employees.
Right, like you need someone who can listen to both sides of a story, understand the underlying issues, and help people find a way to move forward.
Precisely. And that requires a level of social intelligence and emotional maturity that AI, even with advanced learning capabilities, will likely struggle to replicate.
Okay, so HR professionals, you can breathe a sigh of relief. Robots aren't coming for your jobs, at least not yet. So welcome back to the deep dive. We've been on this whole journey exploring jobs that even super advanced AI might struggle to replace. And from CEOs to therapists to stand-up comedians, it seems like humans still have a few tricks up their sleeves.
Yeah, it's true. We've uncovered a lot of fascinating insights about the limits of AI, even as it becomes increasingly sophisticated. And, I think this whole conversation has raised some important questions about what it means to be human in a world where technology is rapidly changing the nature of work.
Right. Exactly. So we've talked about the potential benefits of AI, like, freeing us up to focus on more creative and fulfilling tasks. But there's another side to this whole AI coin, right? I mean, if AI can do so much, what does that even mean for the future of society as a whole?
Yeah, that's a crucial question. And I think it's important to acknowledge that the rise of AI presents us with some significant challenges.
Like what?
Well, for instance, as AI takes over more tasks, we need to think carefully about how we'll adapt our economic systems to ensure that everyone benefits from these advancements, not just a select few.
Right, because the last thing we want is a world where robots are doing all the work while humans are left struggling to make ends meet.
Exactly. And there are other societal implications to consider as well.
Like what?
For example, as AI becomes more integrated into our lives, we need to be mindful of its potential impact on human relationships and social interactions. Will we become overly reliant on AI for companionship or emotional support? Will we lose those essential skills of human connection and empathy?
It's true. Those are some deep questions. It almost feels like we're stepping into, like, the realm of science fiction here, but these are real issues that we need to start grappling with now.
Absolutely. And it's not just about predicting the future, it's about shaping it. We have the opportunity to guide the development and deployment of AI in a way that aligns with our values and creates a more just and equitable society for all.
Okay, so what can we do as individuals to ensure that AI is used for good and not for, some kind of dystopian robot takeover?
Well, first and foremost, we need to stay informed.
Okay.
We need to understand how AI works, its potential benefits and risks, and the ethical implications of its use. We need to engage in thoughtful conversations about the role of AI in society and advocate for policies that prioritize human well-being.
Right, because knowledge is power.
Hmm.
The more we understand about AI, the better equipped we'll be to shape its development and ensure that it's used ethically and responsibly.
Precisely. And we can also start thinking about how we can adapt our own skills and mindsets to thrive in a world where AI is increasingly prevalent.
Oh,
This might involve focusing on developing those uniquely human skills that we've been discussing, like creativity, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence.
so it's not about competing with robots, but about complementing them right, finding ways to leverage our strengths alongside the capabilities of AI to create a more fulfilling and prosperous future for everyone.
Exactly. And that's a message of hope that I think we can all take away from this conversation. The future is not predetermined, it's something we create together. By embracing the possibilities of AI while remaining mindful of its limitations, we can shape a future where technology empowers us to reach our full potential as humans.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the jobs that AI can't take yet. Thanks for joining us on this thought-provoking journey. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and maybe even a little bit of inspiration to navigate the exciting and ever-evolving world of AI. Until next time.